So, welcome to another episode of Healing Money Talks. My name is Emma Lucy Wall, and I invite you, as I always do, to maybe put your phone on airplane mode, turn everything else off, make yourself a cup of tea, sit down, relax, and listen deeply to the conversation that's just about to unfold. Maybe there'll be something in there for you that you're not expecting. My guest today is Ariane Wlasak. I've never said her name before today. And Ariana, please tell me what was it about Sarah McCrum's email that made you reach out and want to connect and be interviewed on this summit?
Yeah, thank you very much, Emma, for having me. I'm calling in today from the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm originally from Germany and have been living here for over 23 years. And for me, it started, Emma, when I was listening to some kind of convention, a spiritual convention, and Sarah McCrum was on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was immediately drawn to her and listened to her talk. And there was something about her that was different for me. And I sat quietly after her presentation, and sort of something really changed in me in that listening. And there was this little voice coming in and said, Ariane, you have been for a long, long, long time a wisdom keeper.
Okay.
It's time to become a wisdom speaker. And I was very surprised by that. So I feel very happy that you reached out and said who would be open and interested in speaking about healing money talks. And I was like, I think this is an opportunity to come and share something that might be important for the listeners, or I don't know exactly what it will be, but here I am. And very, very thankful to you and very thankful to Sarah McCrum and this incredible program that we are all sharing.
Are you studying Thank You Money? Are you a Thank You Money participant?
Yes, yes, yes.
And are you a healer as well?
Yes, I'm a licensed acupuncturist and I'm also a yogini, just like you, and have been on the spiritual path for a long time, studied lots of healing modalities. And yeah, so officially, or in my practical work, I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I work with sound and color and other things. But yeah, energy healing is definitely what I've been drawn to in this life.
Mm-hmm. And are you one of those healers who finds it hard to charge for her services, or are you quite easy with that? Because I know a lot of healers get bogged down in all sorts of dark energies around money.
Yeah, I would say, I was raised in Germany in a good middle class family and chose, I think I was 32, to pack my things because everything seemed too easy for me at the time. My
Okay.
former career was I was a chief flight attendant. I lived in one of the houses of my dad, easily bought cars, bought very luxurious clothes, and it was all at some point everything became dark for me
Okay.
because nothing was fulfilling.
Mm.
And so I was like, I have to let everything go and pack my two suitcases and find out who I am. And so I moved to the United States with nothing, not even a real education in the American standards,
Uh-huh.
and started the path. And it was very difficult. For 20 years I hardly had money. I was basically teaching yoga, and then I decided I have to redo my undergraduate degree, get my master's. I'm planning to do my doctorate starting in May, and just really get somewhat of a hope in this country to have an income as an
Mm.
energy healer, as who I am, not giving my soul away.
Right. So you felt as a flight attendant that you weren't being authentic.
No, thank you for asking that. No, I loved it. And in fact, that was the possibility because I flew all around the world and was a lot in the United States. And so at some point I said, I don't want to just be a flight attendant. I want to come back to Earth in a country that for some reason called me. So in that sense, it was an opportunity. I only flew 10 years and then decided it's time to come and contribute to life and to everything else. Yeah. So yeah, in sense, I was like, at some point, it's not going to take me any further.
Right. It's interesting that you talk about coming back to Earth, having been flying around quite close. I have a friend who's a pilot, and he's actually getting into permaculture, and it's interesting that his experience has been up in the skies, and you're talking about sort of grounding. It feels to me like you're wanting to ground your experience more, because we are here having this physical experience, aren't we? And a lot of spirituality is floating around up with the ethers. And that's, I think, where a lot of the disconnect comes from, because people feel like they're being very fulfilled up on the spiritual plane and up in the ethers. And they're like, well, we don't need money to, but actually it enriches our experience. And my purpose for doing this summit is to allow and enable healers to receive, because we're so used to giving, aren't we? As healers, we give and we give and we give, but receiving, I think, is our challenge.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. And I think now, in the time we're in now, it's kind of like a very spiritual or a very interesting possibility for the first time, at least for me, to have this synchronicity and vitality and union. Yoga means union, where you said, yeah, we were up in the air, we were in the ethers, we wanted to escape the body, we wanted to go to the ashrams, etc., and renunciate, or go to the cave and just meditate. But moksha, freedom, or raja, earning a life, and or love and joy and sexuality and dharma, or all those four goals of life, is really in every moment's possibility, and really, like you say, embodying and coming down and finer sensing and finer feeling money and finer feeling ourselves is, I think, right now very much possible.
Yeah. And particularly with the COVID, with the lockdown, with everybody's just, we've got to just deal with what's in front of us. All that escape to an ashram is just, it's not on the cards at the moment, is it? So we're very I was speaking to somebody earlier where we were talking about how we're really faced with the present at the moment. That's all we've got, really, is the now. Goal setting, this, that, and the other. Where are we going to be? Nobody really knows. It's almost like a great big mindfulness process for the whole of humanity at the moment, as we sit in the now and we just be with it.
Absolutely. I love what you say, Emma. Absolutely. And I hear what you say, this being in the present moment. Our mind likes to go already to the next thing, be in the future or planning, and everything got kind of stopped with COVID, that even this whole economical rushing, always being on the freeway forward for, was a similar kind of tendency that got stopped, and to go back inward to the present moment, to the self, to our heart, to our bodies, to our loved ones, and bring it all together now. It's not like, let's rush and earn just money and become a millionaire. It's not just sitting in the cave and meditating. And like you say, for us healers, it's also, and this is a really beautiful one, I'm really just had an experience with that. It's like, as healers, we want to give and help others and heal others, but we actually, I realized that I can be a work lighter or be a better healer if I just, whatever somebody that comes to me with a dis-ease, look into that dis-ease in myself,
Mm.
and take some time and look at it and transform it within myself so that I can reflect this new harmony versus you need to take this, or I need to give you this acupuncture or this herb. That's all fine. That's all part of it. And though I feel, I think we can be better and lighter working, and when we also have this self-reflective and becoming finer, whoa, it's like I'm just in the mind, let me feel and let me sense,
Mm.
so that I can possibly then bring my true purpose. Might be joy, might be some humor, who knows, what humors somebody to change. I think as healers, we always study so much and we think we know what the other person needs.
Yes.
And and it's made, there's some truth to it, but it's at the end of the day of a healing, it's the person that makes a choice. And I think it's important to listen to generously to what they're saying, and like you say, being present.
Mm-hmm. And receiving their gifts as well, because I believe that we're all healers, that we all can have the capacity to heal ourselves, but lots people get very stuck and think that everything's outside them. We live in our society is so much, it feels so done to us, I think. And particularly at this time, there's a lot is being done to us. And I can understand why there is this people feeling even more out of control, really. But for me, that the inner thing, they can't take this away from us. They can't lock down our souls, no matter how hard they try. And the more we feel into the soul and be in the spirit, the freer we can be.
Yeah, beautiful. There's there's, it says like we gotta, there's dharana, like you say, our soul path or our spiritual path. And um we all have such unique dharana, we all have such unique souls, and like you say, they can't be locked down or closed. And this present moment possibility that we have is to focus on our dharana, focus on our soul,
Yeah.
and then, like you say, listen generously and receive the gift that we exchange all the time, may it be a patient or a client or the woman at the cash register. It's becoming like a world that where we're all really one, and the
Mm.
ability to listen generously and speak courageously is really where all the healing happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And that deep hearing that comes from proper listening, because there's so much noise in the world. Um, but I think it's a time for being really discerning about what we listen to and what we hear, and a great opportunity really for humanity to just open up, even though we feel so. And I'm told that this lifetime, when we pass over, it's like the blink of an eye. Oh, well, the eternal being that is our soul will kind of go, oh, well, that was fun. What's next?
Wow, that's amazing, Emma.
Yeah.
I love what you just said about what we listen to. That's very, so we have a choice, is what I hear you say, what we listen to.
Absolutely. And I think we have choice in every we have choice in every second of every day. And often, for whatever reason, we're making poor choices because we're very used to relying on these things that we see as like higher authorities or whatever. But the authority, when we really do tune into ourselves, um, and tune into a different kind of consciousness, I think we hear very different things. Like all the work that we do around money, that this the idea of money. There aren't very many babies that lie in their prams saying, "Oh, don't let me touch that dollar bill." But we learn that we're taught that all these the lust for money is the root of all evil. We're taught that money doesn't grow on trees. We're taught that it's a limited resource. And yet, when we look at the evidence of the planet just goes on and on and on giving. In spite of our best efforts to stop her, she does just keep giving.
Yes, yes. I like what you said that the self. And though I think for many of us, including myself, I'm right now in a process where I have to come to a finer level in my thinking, and so I feel this opportunity, but I have to really work on allowing this finer feeling, because there's fear of the self. For some reason, we are not only taught to be afraid of money, but somehow we are taught to be in our head in school. So we are not taught to be where. And so now I really feel I'm like, oh, it would be so nice to just stay in our head and just, but it's not anymore, because the mind can also be, taking you down or take you for a ride. But it's, the mind is really, shouldn't be the master, should be the servant. And this process of surrendering and allowing and is really a process. And that's kind of why I wanted to come onto the call, because it's not just like, oh, I'm going to just now do all these things and then I become very, very rich. I feel like it's becoming a better person. It's becoming really myself. Yet there is this fear of it. There's the letting go, and there's this fear of, whoa, it's unknown. I think the reason why we're afraid is because it's unknown if I let go, right?
Yeah. And growth is always uncomfortable. And it's taking us to a place that the mind seems to me to be less the where we should be anyway. It's the heart. When we come down into the heart and start to really feel that. And I think that's part of what's lovely about me interviewing people from Sarah's community. When we just, Ariane and I have never met before today. But I already feel like I know you because we have come together on this, something in our hearts. It was interesting when you said about when you first encountered Sarah. I was exactly the same. I was listening to a summit called the Conscious Business Summit. And she and Jeff Vanderkloot were being interviewed about the work they were doing at the time around the consciousness of money. And I just went, my ears pricked up and I thought, I need to hear what this woman has to say. And I've been following her work for the last 2 years. And like you say as well, it's so much richer than it's not just money, because actually richness and wealth is not about what's in our bank accounts. It's about that inner wealth where
Yeah.
we feel safe and where we know ourselves.
Yeah, and that's really what I like as well about this Thank You Money program, because we have to also work on enriching this, getting to this richer self in us, so that we match the finer level of money, not the scarcity money or the hoarding money or the fear money, but this finer level of money that, like you say, is limitless, that is so flexible, is so loving. Like Sarah says, I'm starting to connect and feel that. And though I feel the work is all inside of myself, um, so that this reciprocity or this receiving really starts to flow. It's not just, oh, I make this bunch of money or I get this great job and then I'm okay, or then I retire. It's more like it's a constant inner letting go, even a death of my identity, to become finer. My partner is also an Aikido uh, senior student, and so often in that tradition, they speak of finer sensing. So it's not to overcome the enemy, but it's to redirect yourself in the situation. So if you're very poor or you have lots of money but you're not satisfied, it's like it's this redirection in myself to self, so that self begins to show up in the situations. Not me, the head, but the self is going to show up in the situations, and that's where this richer flow money is. This loving money is, and I think money will be very grateful to be with us, because we create a new world. We operate on a gratitude or on a different level. I don't know. Maybe you have more to say to that, Emma.
I'm I'm really interested to see where money is going to settle in all of this turmoil, because it
Yeah.
does feel it feels to me like the whole of humanity has just been thrown up in the air. And we've got this polarity, we've got the haves and the have nots, we've got the conspiracy theorists, we've got the people who want the masks, we've got the people who don't want the masks, the people who want the vaccines, the people who don't want the vaccines. Whatever is driving it, I don't know, but it feels to me like a big struggle between darkness and light. And somebody said to me recently, you can't have the light. Once the light is showing, the dark will keep appearing as well. And we've just got to go through this place. So yeah, I would love more money to be moving amongst healers, and for healers to be making the decisions maybe for the world. Because when we come with that place of we're going to heal the whole planet, not how can I line my pocket, what drugs can I put into you. I was on a call with Sarah recently, and she said, we were doing a healing, and she said, the body will heal whatever, whether if you've broken your arm, yes, you have to, if you go and have plaster put around your arm, it's going to heal more quickly. But the body, what's happening at the core is that the body is healing. So whether we do that slowly or whether we do that quickly, whether we bring chemicals into it or whether we just let the body do it by itself, I just feel like we're at this incredible point of evolution, really, where we're going to start to be able to take energy, like you were saying about your partner's practice, about moving the energy, harnessing the energy, playing with it, and money being one of those energies, and us making choices about how we circulate it, whether we circulate it on fear and shame and guilt, or whether we circulate it on love and gratitude. And like you were saying about reciprocity, you have a service, I value your service, thank you very much for your service. Arigato, arigato, arigato is the Japanese way of saying thank you. As you, yes, you look like you're nodding as if you know. But a more reverential approach to, rather than, yeah, thanks for that. But just
Mhm.
really, one of my speakers is healed herself from cancer, from very serious cancer, from really, like, they didn't know if she didn't know if she was going to see the next day. And the power of her choice and her completely becoming gratitude in that process is amazing. and
Mm.
and just shows that when we single-mindedly want something, we are incredibly powerful beings.
Indeed, indeed. I like what you said about the polarities. There's the darkness and there's the light, and so I see that as well, and I find that both are polarities. So I feel like um, there's a third part. It's actually a trinity or a holy trinity. It's like it's kind of like when the here in the Bay Area we have earthquakes, right? And so when these two plates in the the North Pacific plate and the whatever those rub each other,
Yeah,
there's an interface.
yeah,
So like you say, the people that say yes to vaccines, the people that say no to vaccines, masks, etc., but this rubbing on each other creates an interface.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where we really need to feel and
Mm.
sense and find a sense, and not get lost on this side or get lost on this side.
Yeah.
Yet these may have to be for the moment, for this rubbing. And when you think of the pearl in the oyster bed, it's like there's so much water and so much salt, right? And that's rubbing creates the pearl. You know, these two forces
Yeah.
are part of life
Yeah.
indeed. And or when you think of the olive, when you pick an olive from the tree, it's raw, you can't digest it, it's bitter, it's blah. But
Mm.
then you put it into some marination process, some oil and some salt, I think, and some thyme, then it becomes this nutritious, sweet, digestible, nourishing food.
Mm.
And I think if we put our awareness on those aspects and not be harsh with ourselves, but be light with ourselves, then it is that we begin to become that sweet, nourishing fruit that then contributes in this polarity world. And I think that's a form of transcending the forces.
I
But
think, yeah,
right,
that's
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, another one of my speakers was saying how we have the left, which is the feminine, and the right, which is the masculine. And when you bring them together, and at the end of the interview, we did this where we brought them together, feeling those energies as we bring them together. And there's that point of resistance where they're sort of pushing away from one another, and then we bring them into union, and there's something completely different created.
yeah,
She's talking about crucibles and how when we bring those opposites, and I love that idea that we're coming into a oneness, and these interesting times that we're at, let's call them, are going to bring something, they're going to bring something new for sure. I don't think anybody's quite clear about what it is, but everybody who moves in these spiritual circles is making reference to there's something new coming. I mean, there's something new already come for me. It hasn't quite landed, and it hasn't quite grounded, which takes me back to where we started, which was this coming out of the ethers and bringing it down. And our work as yogis is great for that, bringing it all into the body, really embodying the energy.
yes, yes, indeed. I like the oneness. And in Chinese medicine, we have a treatment that's called the three treasures. Like you say, there is the heavens,
Yeah,
there's the earth, and then there is the spark in the heart. And so we are between heaven and earth. There's again this interface, so to speak.
yeah,
And I love what you just did. I feel like, wow, we've got it.
yeah, totally. Yeah, couple that with the words, because people like words, don't they? So Barbara did it was very sort of visceral, this thing, but couple that with your beautiful words about the interface and bringing just it's alchemy. I mean, she was saying it's this energetic alchemy.
Mhm.
Um, and I love that you've got dancing lights all behind you. You must have a crystal in your window, have you?
Yes, yes,
You've got,
yes. The rainbow. Yes, it's
you've
a
got
rainbow
beautiful
maker.
rainbows dancing all around you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so this interface is like, this surrender of these forces, and then it makes something new. I had once a photographer that took pictures of that. I And what we could see, there were like two different colors. We did it with colors.
Yeah,
And we would take a camera and then would mix the two colors, like again, two forces, oil and water, that is separate, and one had a blue and one had a pink. And then we shake it, and then she took pictures of the interface, and we looked at the pictures and we saw worlds, dolphins, we saw ocean. I mean, we saw a whole new world.
mm,
And it's okay if we don't know what the world looks like yet,
yeah.
you know. It's okay. We will eventually.
We will when we get there.
Yeah. Exactly.
We will, and I suppose it's a bit like I'd not had this thought, but I'm thinking about refugees and people who have to leave their homes, and they just they're just off they go. What's the word? They strike out on this path, and they don't know where they're going, but they don't like where they are, and they know they need to leave it. And I think that's where we're at as a species. We know we have to leave
Oh,
whatever whatever has caused us to have this thing on our planet. We're needing to leave behind the old, and there are any number of theories about that. Um, and we'll know when we get there. And let's hope it's the promised land, everybody.
yeah. I was just gonna say it sounds like Moses, right?
It does a little.
And right now we are on that path between those two big forces of the ocean, right? And
Yeah, yeah, and it looks like it could all come tumbling down on us at any moment,
yes,
and it may do on some of us. And for me, I have a strong enough belief that there's stuff beyond this physical realm that it's all going to be okay anyway. It's not to be taken too seriously. I'm finding a lightness. I don't know if you know the book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. It was one of my favourite books when I was growing up. I cannot remember the content at all, but the name, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, for me, that's just, it is. We take it all so seriously, but actually, at the end of the day,
oh, wow, Emma, that is so beautiful what you say. I can feel what you say. It's so, so beautiful. Yeah, the lightness and the humor and the letting go and not taking ourselves too seriously. That was always my hardest one. I'd say.
I think I can relate to that, definitely. And and again, I think it's part of Sarah's community. Sarah's quite an earnest person, so I think we sort of, like attracts like, doesn't it? So she's got this little crucible of people who are learning not to take it all too seriously, because
Yeah,
we'll be
yeah,
gone. We'll be somewhere else sometimes.
yeah. Well, there are sometimes some rough days, and I think it is useful to have these parables who are coming up so that when we have a difficult day, that we have something to hold on to get to the next day. So like you say, even like the lotus, right? The mud. Sometimes we just feel the mud and the murky, the yin sometimes in Chinese medicine, and just to just let it go for a walk or hug a tree and
Mm,
breathe and so so that this growth of this inner light into the world of the lotus, the inner beauty to come through is quite a journey for sure. And I like that we talked about humor and camaraderie and having communities where
yeah.
we can hear each other and listen to each other because we're birthing this new world life, whatever it is, all together. And I
Yes.
think, right, and having the ability now to speak over Zoom such distances and connect with each other is really what is really where this evolution is also, so that we can listen to others, we can speak to others and give each other hope.
Yes. And I think it's really important, certainly for me, to stay connected with people, because when we're thinking slightly differently, the zeitgeist and the media are telling us something completely different, and to hold on to that optimism can be a challenge. So we need each other. We really need each other at this time.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Well, it's such a pleasure to meet you, Emma. I feel really uplifted and grounded at the same time, and centered too. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I like it because I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher. So our practice is that we have the lower chakras are all to do with the animal realm and the physical, and the upper chakras are the spiritual and the angelic. And as you were talking about in the Chinese medicine, the spark of the heart is we see as the bridge between the angelic and the animal realms. and they're all important. And it is lovely to have a lovely heart connection on a Sunday evening for me, or Sunday morning for you.
Yeah.
And I just wondered, Ariane, you don't have to, but a lot of the speakers are just. Do you have anything, any kind of little, do you have anything that you would like to offer the people who are receiving this and they would go onto your mailing list to get, do you have anything, a freebie or not? You don't have to have.
You mean like a practice? Is that what you mean? Or
Yeah, I might have to edit this bit, so I'm gonna, I'll just talk
yeah.
to you about it. I might actually, I'll just pause it so it's not too much. So, Ariane, sorry, I know it's got more of a R about it. Thank you for this absolutely beautiful conversation. And I know, would you like to talk a little bit about what you do in the virtual world? That you, I know you're offering a little free gift for anybody who's listening.
Yes, yes. I offer a free discovery call on Zoom, and I offer different things. And usually in the discovery call, we find out what works for you. And it's mostly an energy healing session that we work on together. Sometimes it's color, sometimes it's um, movement, depending, or grounding. And so the best way to get in touch with me is through my yoga website. So, and I have a different name. My yoga name is Anandama. So it's Anandama yoga.com. You can get in touch with me. And like I say, I'm a licensed acupuncturist and I do energy work and steeped in it for over 30 years, and be happy to connect with you and meet you. And so as a free discovery call, I'm here for you. Just give me a call or connect, please.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And the link is with the video. So just click on the link below the video if you're called to do so. And thank you again for your time. It's been absolutely lovely to speak with you and to watch your
Yes.
dancing rainbows and hear your beautiful insights.
Thank you so much, Emma. It was a pleasure.
Oh no, it was great. Thank you.